Seems to be quite extensive.
Well, it's been busy, but if you're not there and in amongst it all, you just become part of the background. So the other key thing, Sandy, I'd like to mention is the committee's been involved in was the development of a white paper.
Yep.
Called Best Practice Asset Management of Essential Public Infrastructure. We've promoted that at conferences. We've promoted it via emails and mail to various politicians at state and federal level, Infrastructure Australia, engineers. We've been right out there, ALGA, etc. And I was fortunate enough to be able to personally meet with Catherine King, the Federal Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development, Local Government, huge portfolio, but a very relevant one for us. And I was able to hand her a copy personally and ask her to consider the issues. And the big issues in there are to do with skills, lack of skills, lack of resources, etc., to implement this infrastructure pipeline that the federal government is rolling out. There's a massive shortage of engineers and a shortage of asset-related people.
Yeah, and it's funny you mention that because I released the video for Ruth Walsgrove, session 6, yesterday. And one of the things we talk about are skills. And do you need more engineers in there, or do you need people with the appropriate skills? Because
that's right.
Right, and because that's an area you've got a choice. You can go the engineering route, and you'll get so far, or you can go the other route and you bring the others in with new ideas, fresh ideas, and implement that way, and have the appropriate person doing the appropriate job. Basically.
IPWEA, not just the Asset Management Committee, but IPWEA proper, is very keen on education, training, and a focus on practitioners, not just engineers. Yes, well, it is engineers, and they will be catered for and always have been. But especially in the asset management field, you don't have to be an engineer.
No, you don't.
To be a good asset manager. A number are, but a number aren't. And we're doing work at the national level with a group that just escapes me, that we're trying to get a name called, the name terminology right, not asset management engineer, but asset manager, things like that. Because when we get the Bureau of Statistics information, we're not getting a true representation of, because there's no classification for asset manager as such. It's always got the word engineer in it. To me, engineer is a subset of asset manager. You may be an engineer, you may not be. And I've seen some fantastic asset managers who are not engineers. So, and just pursuing that line of thought, Sandy, IPWEA over the last few years has developed their asset management pathway, education pathway, lifelong learning opportunities, and it starts off at that foundation level, which is all about dealing with the practitioners, etc. Then you can move through into what do we call them? Professional certificates. I've just got a note here. So you've got your professional certificate in asset management planning, and then you can do a professional certificate in infrastructure financial management, and then you can do the integrating asset management and governance. So sort of moving up the sphere. And once you get past all that, there's been a lot of work done with the World Partners in Asset Management, and now the work that you've done with IPWEA through the foundations parts of it, the professional certificate, and then moving up into the recognition side, you can get credits, etc., and for your CARMA exam. So, and then should you wish to go further, and this is more for the ones, and you don't necessarily have to be an engineer either, but if you wish to move through then into the management side, we have a relationship with the University of New South Wales Business School. So you can do, postgrad stuff. You can then start going into management, communication skills, all of that sort of stuff. So I'm really excited about that program. It does provide, and its name's Pathway, and it genuinely provides a pathway for practitioners who I don't know where they've gone anymore.
Yeah.
I don't see them around. So it is a concern, and we need to try and capture that. And one of the things that was raised by the chair of the parliamentary committee, he asked us a question about skilled migration, and that he sees a lot of, and the example he gave was, Indian taxi drivers. And I've had that experience myself here in Ballarat. And you just chat with them as you're going along. And I'm a qualified engineer, can't get a job.
Yep.
And they tend to go back and do further studies and may get their doctorates or etc. And unfortunately, in the area where the huge opportunities, they become, inverted commas, overqualified and theoretical. Whereas the IPWEA pathway education stuff provides them excellent opportunities to do this stuff and get into a field where there's gaps.
You'll get my support because
So our CEO and the IPWA board are now looking at how we can work with this skilled migration and optimise the numerous qualified engineers in Australia that haven't got jobs. So I think it's a very important pathway to pursue.
I think it's very sad in many ways. Do you think we've taken the foot off the pedal in that domain? Because we're not getting enough engineers to do the appropriate jobs. But are we actually asking for those people? I'm not just talking in asset management, I'm talking across the board. The things you learned when you came out as a graduate, the things I learned when I came out as a graduate, those sort of in the field experiences, which unless you've done it, you won't get it. Because I've noticed throughout my career, some of the best asset managers had that experience. They went through that, and then you could take them from there up the ladder, but you couldn't take someone who'd been in an office all their life down to that experience.
Yeah, it became, I was lucky, I suppose, and yourself, we were lucky to be brought up as generalists. We worked in all areas: survey, design, out in the field, acting in senior roles, and through the IPWEA regional meetings way back in the 80s, I'd go along and listen to your Robin Nuttalls and
that goes back a few years,
and your Keith Woods and all of those people, and I just sit back in awe about how they've been in contact with politicians and they've actually got grant money and we can do this. And I said, wow, how do you do that?
Yeah.
So I think that IPWA still provides that networking opportunity, but it's the practical skills. And unfortunately, in local government, as I see now, and I don't get out and about as much these days, but when I do, I see people tend to be pigeonholed. If you're a design engineer, you're a design engineer. And without having the practicality, to design a car park that the street sweeper can't sweep the corners.
Yeah.
And you've got to get out and do it by hand. So garbage collection, all the different things you pick up along the way, road construction, and that's my biggest beef at the moment. And that was submitted to the parliamentary inquiry is the lack of skills, and that applies. Vic Roads does not seem to be able to build roads through contracts or whatever that stay there anymore.
Yeah. If you want to see more of these videos, go into the Patreon site. That's patreon.com/dropofwisdom and go to the collections folder where you will be able to see the rest of the videos.